The state of Montana has a big problem. They can't pay landlords enough rent in order to accept Section 8 tenants. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. Alright, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of the state of Montana. It has to do with the Section 8 program. Now, I've told you before there are many reasons why landlords might not want to participate in the program. In this article, it actually goes over one of the best reasons right there. Okay, it says that basically the state of Montana isn't able to pay landlords market rate rents. What they base the rents that they're paying off on is dated information, and so the market rate rents are much higher than that. And so you got a whole bunch of tenants who got these vouchers. The vouchers do not pay what the landlords are charging, and the landlords are just turning them down. They're just like, hey, I'm not going to rent to this person. Why would I take a pay cut versus me renting to a market rate tenant? I'm not going to do it, and it makes perfect sense. Okay, so I would imagine that before long, we're going to start seeing laws being proposed in the state of Montana that say, oh, landlords have to accept Section 8 vouchers. Yeah, whatever. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw that, even in a place like Montana, which isn't traditionally known as being a more progressive place, a more anti-landlord place. I could still see that politicians would propose this sort of thing, hoping to get votes, of course. That's what they do. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below, and let me know what you think. So I know for a fact that when I've brought up these laws, these mandates before that have to do with Section 8 program, that other landlords have written comments and said that, hey, the reason I don't accept the vouchers is because they don't keep up with the rental income, okay, or with the rent. I'm sorry, they don't keep up the rental payment to landlords with the market rate rents, and that's why I don't accept them. So I'm just curious if any landlords out there who are participating in Section 8, or have chosen not to participate in Section 8, if that is the reason. Go ahead, put a comment section down below. Let's get into this article. This article is coming from NBCMontana.com, and it says, worst kind of catch-22, unraveling Montana Section 8 woes. Now, they play this article from the perspective of, oh, well, you know what? We have to help these poor tenants out, right? I see it a little bit differently, okay? Section 8 is obviously a very socialist program, and it has a lot of flaws with it. And this flaw kind of exposes it as being a completely just a messed up system, okay? It kind of shows the flaws in the whole system. So anyway, let's get into it. Montana housing authorities are feeling the squeeze, unable to use all their Section 8 housing vouchers. The troubling trend follows the rapid increase of rents in the state since the COVID-19 pandemic. We were always at 99 to 100% of our vouchers are leased, and we had enough money to support that, Jim McGrath, the Missoula Housing Authority's director of HUD programs, said. Currently, Missoula's housing authority cannot even afford to lease all its vouchers, and roughly half of those who qualify for a Section 8 voucher cannot find a place inexpensive enough to live. Helena's success rate has been closer to 30% as rents soared. Helena's was identified in recent years as having the fifth highest county, Lewis and Clark County, fifth highest percentage rental price increase in the entire country, Michael O'Neill, executive director of Helena's Housing Authority, said. So, according to them, the issue is that, we can't find enough people to lease all the units to, or landlords aren't accepting the vouchers because they're not getting paid enough, right? And my whole thing is, listen, that's not a problem, okay? If those tenants are unable to use those vouchers, well, you know what? We just return them, return the money, or, whatever money that we were getting from the federal government for the program, we just turn it back in. We don't have to spend that money. Like the amount of waste that goes out there is just insane. It's like they get the money in and they're like, well, if we don't spend every single dime, you could send it back, or you could somehow, use it for the future. There has to be a better solution than just blowing through this budget just because you got the money. So if these tenants aren't able to find housing, you know what? They're just not in the program. Period. Okay? I don't care. That's their problem. You tried to help them. They weren't able to get helped. Now, let's focus on sending the money back. The money that we're not going to use. You know, like, government is so wasteful, and it bothers the heck out of me. McGrath and O'Neill are among housing officials grappling with what's known as fair market rent. This is what the Department of Housing and Urban Development uses to calculate the Section 8 voucher. Since the pandemic, Montana's market rates left the fair market rents in the dust. Census data HUD uses to determine rates provides good data sets for large metropolitan areas, McGrath told NBC Montana, but not in places like Montana. So yeah, they're trying to... The government is trying to determine what the fair market rate rent is, right? And they can't do it. They can't determine how much the rents are for this area. Why? Because they're the government. They're bureaucrats. They're not actual business owners. They don't know anything about operating a business in this area, and they're making stupid assumptions that are just plain wrong. Okay? Now, the reason I bring that up, and I'm sure you already figured out why, is because I'm speaking specifically about rent control and government price control policies that a certain presidential candidate is proposing, okay? If they can't figure out how much the rents are in Montana, how the heck are they going to set grocery prices? Give me a break, okay? You can't do it. You can't do it. The government isn't good at determining anything. They are idiots. Okay, let the markets work. The markets work. And I have to bring this stuff up every single day because, you know what? I see the people and they think this is the solution, right? We already know the government price controls don't work in terms of rent control, and yet they're still pushing it like this is some sort of a solution. Give me a break, okay? Idiotic.